Welcome to the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Wags Media. Wags Media provides you with everything you need to generate more customers and grow your brand. Head on over to wagsmedia.com, wagsmedia.com, to enter a contest where you can win a free, done-for-you custom website valued at $2,500 for a limited time only. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have David English with us. He is the Vice President for AdTrend, the largest locally owned outdoor advertising company in Kansas City with over 300 billboards in the KC Metro. He is also involved with many local charity organizations supporting Kansas City in a variety of ways. So welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here.
Grateful to have you here. We'll dive right into the first one. The first question I have for you, David, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Yeah, you know, when I moved to Kansas City, I didn't know a soul. I'm from a town of about 1,500 people. We have one stoplight, and I don't know that there's a McDonald's there any longer. And I got lost going to the grocery store sometimes. And you look back, it's kind of funny. I'm a billboard salesperson at that point in my life, 23 years old. And I don't know that I had ever driven on a major highway before. So I just kind of over time, I adopted this mindset of just, figure it out and then take a look back and figure out what you just did and just learn from your mistakes, learn from things you did right and wrong, and just keep going with it and keep pushing through the mistakes and learn from them when you can. And I think the message is there. It's, just keep going for it. I did not want to be that kid, that person who left small town Kansas and had to come home and admit defeat or admit failure to my peers who had stayed home and told me that moving to the big city was a waste of time. I didn't want to be that guy. And I just kind of kept pushing, and I used that as motivation to figure out a way to stay here and make myself successful.
And what's the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
Yeah, in the billboard industry, we have so many customers that focus entirely on the location of the billboard and where is it at, what highway is it on, how many cars pass the board. And if you're in a situation and as a business owner and you're buying media, I don't care if it's radio or TV or outdoor advertising, billboards, digital, you have to remember the message. How are you portraying yourself to the customer? What are you saying about yourself, your company? How do you want people to look at you? Because it's not all about the best TV spot or the best billboard location or the best media placement. It's about who you are and how you portray yourself to the people you want to buy your product.
And it could tie in, but what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Yeah, overall, I got it from a buddy of mine I went to grad school with. Actually, we were talking one day about all we're involved and what we do and how we are spread so thin. And he's a few years older than me, and he just really suggested that I work very hard at being more diligent and efficient with my time, looking at what do I do that brings value to me, my life, my family, and what do I do that's just a waste? And what am I doing that's just not productive? And eliminating that from your life. If it's checking your email too often or looking at social media or just attending sporting events that aren't necessary, eliminate that's not needed and be very, very efficient with all that you do.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to earlier, but it's that common phrase you hear right now of trusting the process, of just keep pushing, keep going. I would get discouraged a lot when I was younger, when I didn't know people up here in KC or when I was lost looking for help. And I would just tell myself, don't get discouraged. You're going to be fine. You just got to push harder and keep pushing through those difficult times because you're going to make it. You just got to work harder than other people. And the main thing there is not to get distracted. Make sure that you're focused on that process every day, doing it diligently despite what the naysayers are saying and despite advice that you're getting to the contrary.
And in your opinion, what's the key to happiness?
For me, I mean, it's finding that balance and maintaining the balance that you find. In life, now we've got to juggle so much right now. I mean, work, life, family, friends, your religion, and that list can go on and on. And it's really maintaining that balance, juggling the activities that are important to you in your life at that point. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's family, but making sure that balance is there so that you can provide all you can to those around you. But it's just maintaining and finding balance in your life.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
Yeah, I've read a lot of those traditional, Good to Great, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read the Better Business book that you've done, Tyler.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the first book that came to mind was a book we read in school called The Goal. And I'm going to butcher the author's name. Goldrat's his last name. And it's got a lot of good books, a lot of good ideas and thoughts about constantly seeking improvement and making things better and finding change in areas that will help improve your life. It's unique. It reads more like a novel, and it's a very easy read. But there are a lot of lessons that you can get out of it, and I don't know that it's a book that is just flying off the shelves all the time.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
It's long, and I'll spare you getting into all of it. It's Teddy Roosevelt's "The Critic Who Counts" quote, talking about the man who giving credit to the man who is in the arena opposed to the critic that stands outside pointing out the faults and the failure. And it's a very famous quote. It goes on for longer than this podcast will. So, but it just speaks a lot to naysayers and not listening to them and then keeping busy and keeping, your path of success and not listening to those people that are around you, even though you're failing. And if you fail at full speed, that's better than a lot of other possible outcomes.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very familiar with that quote. So anybody listening, I definitely recommend you find the full quote. It is very good. And thanks again for coming on, man. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
Yeah, I mean, I keep a very low social media profile personally. I keep it really between friends and family, but I really encourage any of you to get online and find AdTrend. There's a hyphen between the D and the T. It's AD-trend. We try to promote our business and do everything we can to promote our products to those. I mean, it's ATIKC or AdTrend Kansas City on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. We try to do a lot of good things around here and promote a lot of different organizations that we partner with. So, yeah, we'd love to hear from you that way.
Perfect, man. Thanks again for hopping on.
Great, man. Great talking to you.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.